Cat TV is celebrating 30 years of community media. Help support Cat TV's next 30 years by becoming a member today. Your membership will help us continue covering meaningful, local content. Thank you for supporting your local community media station.
I do need to add to the agenda of item number 4, which is executive session, a discussion governed by 1 VSA 313A2 that will allow us to update the board regarding a issue that we need to work through in executive session. So we need to do that before we can move to any other agenda item. Just for clarity, the executive session that is stated is a different version, so we are adding to that executive session with the new one, so that the discussion that needs to be had in executive session.
Can you repeat the VSA again?
1 VSA 313A2.
Thank you.
Motion to adjust the agenda to include that.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, thank you.
Hold on one second.
Sorry, who was that? That was.
I don't know if that was a board member, Scott.
Who was that holding on for?
I don't think there's anything, Scott. You can move forward.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Agenda item 2 is Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great. Moving into public comments. Any public comments this evening? Either raise your hand or use the raise hand function in Zoom. I want to be very certain that we don't miss anybody. There's nobody there in the room with you, Jim, that has any comments?
No.
Okay. Oh.
You have a hand raised.
Yes.
I
Go
just had a question. I don't know if there'll be time for this today, just regarding the academic calendar for next year.
State your name for the recorder, please.
Stacy Svuesd.
Thank you.
Yep.
I will be discussing it under the superintendent's report, the calendar, so I will address it then.
Okay. Any other public comments? Moving into consent agenda. Could we get a motion to approve?
I make the motion.
Second.
Okay, so motion made by Jeff, seconded by Tammy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, thank you. Now we are moving into executive session. Jim, can I have you help me through this process?
Yeah. And what would you like me to do for?
So we've got two areas, one which would be board only this evening,
Yep.
and one where we'll be inviting in the members from, or the folks from the panel seat to
Yep.
the board.
Which one would you like to do first, Scott?
Why don't we do the one that not the panel seat one. We'll do the other one first, and then we'll come, we'll
Okay.
work in the
Yep.
two.
So you can make a motion to go into that, and then I'll set up a virtual room for you, and then the board will ask the panel people to go sit in the lobby, and then you can have your meeting.
Okay,
Move to executive session.
I'll second it.
second, okay.
Yep.
Those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
And do we state the reason for this executive session, Scott? Under one.
The reason for this executive session would be to talk about the Beach Street, the current,
Real estate, yep,
correct,
yep. Okay,
Beach Street, I'm sorry.
all right, I'm gonna set up a breakout room for you people.
Are we all here? I believe we are. Okay. Thanks everybody for the patience as we are coming out of executive session. And now let's talk, can I have a motion as we've come out of executive session for item 4 on the agenda?
So I'd like to make a motion after consideration that we appoint Sandy Foster to our board for a year, for the year C.
Well, Jeff, I think I saw you second, but you were on mute.
So I'm you. I'll second that motion.
Sounds great.
Mhm.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Any abstentions? Sounds great. Congratulations, Sandy.
Congratulations, Sandy.
Thank you.
And Scott, if I could just I just want to remind people that if you're really looking at running for the boards or any position, you have to start looking right after Christmas. In the town office in Bennington would have the information. So, just make sure, let's put out there publicly that if, there's a bunch of open seats, but let's, you have to be ready to go after Christmas. So, town of Bennington would be a big help. So just check in with them if you're interested in running next March.
And they'll be able to indicate whether those previously on the board have pulled a petition. Is it even if you were previously on the board and your seat's up, you still have to pull the petition.
Yes.
Yeah, and oftentimes the town's individual websites have the information too.
And it'd be a 3-year term if you run in March.
In March, it will be for a 3-year term. Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm moving into agenda item 5. Do we have a finance report?
You have a treasurer's report,
Treasurer's report.
and you have 2 donations that we're asking you to accept.
And Jim, can we do that all in one, or do we have to do that in 3 separate?
The treasurer's report, you just acknowledge that you received it, and then you probably should vote on the 2 acceptances separately, in case there's any questions on either one.
Okay, any discussion on the treasurer's report?
Move to accept.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Any abstentions? Sounds great. And moving into the Lundgren Subaru donation for $3,000 to Molly Stark. Any discussion or questions on that?
How do they flag the money to use? Does anybody know, or is it just general fund?
So I asked the principal how they spent it last year. They used it for like a funnel ball game and then equipment for playground. But they have not decided how they want the teachers to access this money yet. Principal's waiting to see if the board would accept the grant, but the teacher uses a collaboration with the principal for how they want to. They used it for sensory pathways in the previous year and a funnel ball recess equipment. They don't know what they'll use it for this time. They're waiting for your acceptance, then they will meet and decide what they want to buy with it.
So they try to use it for all the kids in the school, find something that most kids can access, majority. Okay, thanks, Jim.
Move to accept.
Second.
Motion was made by Dick, seconded by Chayla. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
That was as in favor, right, Susan?
Yes.
And any abstentions? Great. The children,
and a thank you card to them.
thanks very much, Jeff. Children's Literacy Foundation book grant for Pownell Elementary. I looked into the packet to figure out if I could get any more details on that, and I couldn't find it. So do you have any details on that, Jim, that we might?
I do not have any other detail other than in what's the letter in the packet.
Move to
Sorry.
accept.
Second. So it sounds like it's a grant for library books for
For
the
the
with.
library, yeah.
One of the books, 10 books of the year, yeah.
So I second, Dick.
Is Scott frozen?
He looks
Looks
frozen.
frozen.
Scott, I don't know if you can hear us, but the motion was made and seconded.
His computer froze.
Yeah,
I thought it was too.
I think we'll give him a minute. Looks like he's left and will come back in, which is one solution when you get frozen. So we'll give him a minute. I don't know who our second vice chair is.
I don't think we have one. do
No.
we?
I mean, because we just have to vote on this one. So, I mean,
All those in favor?
I think all those in favor, we have a quorum here, so I think we can move it. So all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? So I'll say the motion moves as part of the board.
It looks like
So-
Scott's trying to come back in.
Okay,
It's
hope
the
it works.
clerk who's next.
it'd be the clerk. Okay, that'd be me.
So that worked out perfect.
Perfect. So I guess we'll move forward with to the policies if Scott gets in here.
He's trying to get in.
He's working at it. Want to give Scott another 2 minutes, then we'll move forward.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Which number is it?
The policy we're moving forward on, it's to policy 5090. It's for searches. It's to warn for interrogation or searches of students by law enforcement or other agencies.
We worked on that last meeting. I moved to warn.
Okay.
You're muted, Scott.
Any seconds for the warrant on that
Oh, there
policy?
he is.
I second it.
Okay. Once Scott's here, I guess I'll finish this one. All those in favor of warning the policy for interrogation and searches of students by law enforcement, policy 5090?
Aye.
Aye.
Any noes? Any abstentions? So the policy 5090 is now warned. Is Scott here now?
I am. I'm sorry. The internet completely went out and then it got back by the time I walked downstairs to figure out what was going on. Completely
Okay.
by the time I was upstairs. So
Yeah, we moved, you missed 2 votes on, we approved both the finances for the Subaru and the Literacy Foundation, and the board decided to warn the policy on 5090. So now we're at the principal's report. So you can take it from there, Scott.
All right, principals report. Jeff, Principal Johnson from
So
Shasbury.
I just want to frame this evening. I asked Jeff to come, not as the principal of Shasbury Elementary School, but as the principal of record for Woodford Elementary School. And Melissa Chancey is here also to discuss her role in the operation of Woodford. It's different this year, and we thought the board should get a report and some insight to how that is working out. So, Jeff.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Scott. You guys hear me okay?
Mhm.
All right, so yeah, Jim asked me to come and speak as the principal of Woodford, my second job. And I'll be honest with you, when this was presented to me last fall, I really wasn't sure what to expect. It seems like it's a much different format than we've done in the past. But I knew Melissa from the past. We'd worked together in a number of different committees district-wide, and I knew she was a solid Woodford person and teacher there, and I always enjoyed working with her, so I knew it would be a good match, and I find it to be that way throughout the school year. You know, we work well together. We are definitely still in a learning curve. I think Melissa would agree, you know, kind of figuring out our roles and what we could do for each other. But we have great communication. Almost daily, we're talking or texting with each other. I've been over there more and more this spring, trying to spend some time at Woodford to get to know the kiddos and the staff. And I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it immensely, even with the sewer backup a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And that's only because we had the same problem at Shasbury several years ago, so I could relate to it. But we handled it well, and I enjoy working with Melissa. She's doing a great job running the day-to-day operations and keeping me informed and asking for help when she needs it or advice, and look forward to continuing if possible.
And I ditto that. I've been at Woodford for 21 years now. I am definitely dedicated to that little school on the hill. And it has been great working with Jeff. I knew him from working on committees with him. So when his name was presented, that was an easy no-brainer. We talk all the time, and he's been there if I have any questions or problems or whatever. And it's a learning curve for both of us, but we're getting through it.
Any questions for us from the board?
She has a perpetual smile. That always concerns me.
Thanks, Dick. The kids missed you today, by the way. Dick comes in and reads with our students and helps out, so.
Jeff, how often are you up there in person during the week? Is it just one day or just kind of as needed now?
It's as needed, or, you know, lately since you know, like as you guys know, I have an assistant principal now half-time. So I've also tried to more this spring, late winter this spring, I've tried to, I just tell Sarah, I'm gonna go to Woodford for the afternoon and try to spend a little more time up there, even when I'm not needed, just to kind of see things. And I'm gonna try to do that more and more this spring into next year as well. So, but there's no set day. I don't have a set time or day. It was kind of as need basis to start with.
Well, we appreciate you stepping up and helping out, so.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, moving on. Up next is the superintendent's report.
I just want to thank Jeff and Melissa for hanging in there for, you know, some lengthy executive sessions. I should have warned you and invited you to come in later, but thank you for hanging in there. And I do think that it's been a great professional sharing of that position between Jeff and Melissa. And I do want to thank them both for what they're doing for Woodford. Couple items that I do want to make you aware of. As I calculated for students, the last day of school will be Friday, June 10th. And I'm proposing that the last week of school, the 6th through the 10th of June, to be half days to allow our staff the time they need to prepare for the end of the year. So the week of June 6th through 10th, half days. The last day for staff is for them to meet their contractual obligation of number of days worked will be Monday, June 13th, and we are going to do something different on that day for the staff. So last day is Friday, June 10th, with half days the week of June 6th through 10th. Once I get through the MAU board meeting, which is the Wednesday after school vacation week, then we'll put that up on our website. So any questions or concerns about the end of the year that board members would like me to hear?
Just one, I'll start, Jim. Is MAU planning to do half days that same week? Because I know some people have childcare. It's become a huge childcare issue.
It would be the same
It'd be
for
the same.
everyone. Yep.
And what about end of the school year? I know some teachers and principals plan, those last couple of days, but I mean, as a parent, it's incredibly hard to
Yep.
do anything that week.
I understand that, but yeah, principals
That
were
was
made aware of this.
Like, is there, what is the kind of the reasoning between the half days versus like, is it the kids need to be in school that many days? Or is it, like, could it be, ending school middle of the week versus the end of the week and not have half days for parents?
No, to meet the required number of days, the students need to go to the 10th of June.
Okay.
So, and we don't, because of the impact of COVID and the changing of schedules, we don't have the number of days at the end of the year that we traditionally do with staff. So the thought behind the half days, considering the years, the year that our staff has been through, to allow them time to do their end of the year preparation, grading, report cards, classroom preparation for the summer, to do that through the half days in recognition of what our staff has been enduring through COVID.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I think the question I have is there are some things that happen toward the end of it every school year that are pretty near and dear to, I think, students and teachers and staff alike. And I'm thinking about Shaftesbury selfishly, but things like field day,
Yes.
where the kids end up spending, the majority of the afternoon outside, smiling, laughing, having fun with one another. And this obviously would have an impact on things like that. They were moved earlier. And so what's the thought process there?
I don't think it's going to impact. Schools are still going to have those activities. That's why we let principals know. We had floated this out there with principals at their last meeting with them. Then we met again with principals again today, and I made the same announcement to them. It may impact that field day will move to the morning, but this is not intended to eliminate field days, or they could do it. They could do it free to do it the week before too. So the last full day would be Friday. Is that June 3rd or 2nd or 3rd? I'm not sure what that would be the last full day. So this, I see no reason why schools can't still do those very valued traditions that the students look forward to.
Have we thought about even splitting it and saying, like, have 2 of those days as full days and 3 as half days? Like I said, my feeling is, as a parent, I mean, I don't know what to do with my kid, honestly, and I'll say that. I rely on other parents, and most of us are working. I mean, you're asking me to take another, 5 half days. I think after COVID, a lot of parents, that was their concern, is what do you do with your kids when they're not home? When you're not home, especially young kids. And you have high school teachers who have kids in the school. What happened to those kids? If I think of like the high school, guidance counselors or teachers who are taking care of their kids, they pick up after school. That means they ought to find alternative placements. I mean, is there a way to have some type of use special use the paraeducators for some after school programming? I mean, like I said, I'm concerned about the community pushback when we put this out there. I mean, I think. So, I mean, like, that's my 2 cents. So, Jim.
My advocation is for our teachers and staff.
Yeah.
And I understand the impact it might be, and that's why we're trying to get this announcement out as early as possible, well over a month in advance of what that would be.
Can we try to coordinate with some of the after-school programs, provide services? I know they do them right now using ESSA funds.
Mhm.
I mean, with like the YMCA or something like that, you know, just kind of, if needed, apply for those.
I'm not saying that we can't, but I don't see where I could do that for 1 week with an agency that we're already contracting with on other half days. But, and that, the amount of slots that you're talking about that they're for students, it would have minimal impact. Because the numbers that the YMCA is giving us currently would not address all schools, wouldn't even come close.
Mhm. Okay.
I'm not gonna say negotiate, but we did, review this with the teachers union as well.
Mhm. Okay.
Any other questions from the board on that?
Does this cover the question that was asked by a member of the public earlier?
No, that's the next thing that I'm going to address. I think they were referring to the calendar for the following year.
Yep.
So I hope you all got this electronically today. Did you get the calendar today? I don't know if you have it in front of you, but I have copies here. So the calendar for next school year does contain a number of half days, more than we have had in the past. The challenge in the calendar for next year is it's a unified calendar with Arlington. We're one SU, one calendar. I did submit a calendar to the state of Vermont because I'm required to submit one by April 1st. Calendars can be revised even after that date. Like we did a revision to our calendar for this year, like back in August, because of some changes because of impact of COVID. But there are a number of half days, so there'll be the same concerns. The most glaring example of this change you'll see in the calendar is every Wednesday in January and February and the first 3 weeks of March are half days. And that's because the Arlington School District does early release on those Wednesdays for their skiing program at Bromley. So those are now half days in our calendar. And then we have the 8 half days that we've always had in our calendar for professional learning. So there's like 18 half days in this calendar. Now, 2 of those half days are pre-holidays, like the day before Christmas, the day before Thanksgiving. So those aren't what's in dispute. But, my focus is on what's best educationally. I understand and I acknowledge there are also concerns about impacts on family and childcare, which, to understand, we are not a childcare facility, we're an educational facility. And so what the proposal is that during the 22-23 school year, there's designated early release days for SU students to allow for teacher preparation, team meetings, IEP team meetings, and professional learning. Things that happen now, but teachers and staff are getting pulled out of class and then a substitute goes in if available, which hasn't happened. So try and concentrate this on these Wednesdays, mainly because of the impact of January, February, and March. So we shifted so that at least families can see consistency. We shifted, if you look in our fall part, our professional learning days of once a month, which have always been there, we moved them to Wednesdays. So at least families know that these half days are going to fall on Wednesdays, except for those 2 that fall before a holiday period and those that are on parent-teacher days. So it's been a struggle. To have substitutes, there's a shortage of substitute teachers. Someone trying to come in. So we're hoping that this would have less need, we're still always going to need substitute teachers for absences and things like that, but less need of substitutes for professional learning time or team meeting time, because we can concentrate that on Wednesdays. Continued collaboration time. So we are going to explore opportunities to support families in need of childcare as we move to this calendar, because we certainly recognize what that impact, and we will look for partners. You mentioned using our para educators to provide services. Yes, but also we need professional learning and collaboration time for our para educators. We need to use them in other ways during that time. It's not that they would necessarily be available to run childcare or school-based care for that. So a huge group of administrators and teachers have been taking part the State of Vermont initiative for inclusive education, and we've been doing this all year. And Dr. Katie Novak, who we meet with on this group, is an advocate, to make it a high-achieving school district. And somehow, as much as 35% of teachers' time is dedicated to improving their lessons. And we need to provide them dedicated and shared structural time to do that. And that's what we're hoping to do on these Wednesdays. If it's not that, we have the budget impact of paying staff to work later for that collaboration or learning time. So I acknowledge the impact of these many half days. I don't know how all boards are going to react to this. This calendar is on discussion on the agenda for Arlington tomorrow night because of the impact of the number of half days in there. They want their I think it's 10 ski days in here, and we want our 8 professional learning days in here. Is 18 half days too much? I don't think so personally. I think we need a half day every week. If you want to continue to improve this school district, I think the goal that we need to work towards, and this might be the first step to it, is every week has an opportunity for collaborative time with teachers, with professional learning for our teachers, to share data, to learn how to affect better learning and improve our school district. We can't expect our teachers and staff to do it on their own time, and we can't afford to pay everybody additional time to do it, nor once we get beyond a school day, can we require somebody to do it. So that's some of the thinking from that, but I do acknowledge that this is a shift, but it's mainly brought on, I think it's an opportunity, but the shift is mainly brought on by the merging of 2 school districts that had very different calendars for different reasons. So I'll stop at that and ask questions. Scott?
Scott is not on.
Go ahead, Jeff.
And I just say one thing, Jim, and I think my wife's district in Manchester, they do half days on Thursdays because of GISP, which for teachers, I'd say, is 100% of support of that. I think Arlington's done the same thing for years as well because of the GISP. The only problem I see is we have, and I've asked this question in the past, why don't we do this on half days on Tuesdays because of the student